Welcome back to Two Broken Thumbs, the only podcast where we now have a Discord. Well, I have Discord, but Discord nonetheless.
Link is in the description.
Yeah, there you go. Link's in the description.
Unless the editor forgets.
No, I won't. Well, Pat doesn't do the source stuff. I do all that. He edits.
Ah.
Yeah, I do all that. That's all my job.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So, the link will be in the description, and I hope to see you all there. And you're currently hearing two mods in that group chat. Me, Cole, obviously. And my co-host, who probably just fucking died. Oh, nope, okay.
No, I'm chilling. I thought I was going to get an introduction, but it's okay.
Well, I was waiting for you to introduce yourself. That's what we do here.
I don't need an introduction. It's fine. It's fine.
All right. Well, do you want to tell people who you are?
No. It's fine.
All right, James. Would you like to at least tell us what we're talking about today, James?
So today we are talking about movies, as we do here. Particular movies this time. Is this episode 10 that we're doing now?
Yeah.
Yeah. So since it's a episode which is divisible by 5, apparently that's our rule. We're doing a trilogy or a series of some type. So, what are we doing, Cole?
This movie series that came out in early 2003. Well, the first movie did came out in 2003 and ended, I believe, in 2007. It was directed by the famous Sam Raimi and had famous actor Tobey Maguire, James.
Yeah,
that's your cue.
Tobey Maguire and
J.K. Simmons.
Yep. The guy who plays Harry. That's
Thanks for naming. I almost named the character's name before the actor, and then you just full on named the actor character before the actor. Who's the guy who plays Goblin Jr.?
Oh yeah. Oh, it's got Willem Dafoe in it. The first one. Actually, all of them.
Oh, that's right. Well,
yeah.
Is he in the third one? Oh yeah, he is. Okay, yeah, he is. For brief moment. But yeah, we're talking about the Spider-Man trilogy, the original, not the main Spider-Man or the new one.
Not any other Spider-Man trilogy.
Yeah, not yet.
Not yet. Maybe one day.
We mostly are going to talk about this one because we've already seen it. When James came to visit, we sat down to watch it all. It was very enjoyable.
I like it a lot.
But after rewatching it,
very nostalgic.
I have a few problems with it.
I got some issues with it.
I never watched it as a kid, so I don't have that same feeling. Maybe I just don't remember. I'm probably too busy rewatching that person's group.
Yeah, Cole doesn't actually watch good movies ever.
Oh God! Did you hear that beep?
What beep?
I'm gonna. Fuck! How do I? Discord. It's fine. I'm sure it's fine. I'm sure it'll be fine. So we're talking about the Spider-Man trilogy. Obviously, we're going to start with Spider-Man 1. James, do you have the everything set up?
Not really. Would you like me to get that set up?
Oh. Yeah, I would have liked you to get that set up before we started recording.
Oh. Well.
Yeah.
Huh. If only. So what how you want to do this one? Do you want to run through it play by play or?
Yeah. Let me see. Right now, spoilers. We're gonna spoil all 3 movies, but we'll rate them at the end of each movie.
Yeah, and if you haven't seen these movies yet, go watch them. They're fun.
They're fun. They're enjoyable. Definitely a popcorn movie with family.
They're pretty similar to what I remember. That being the first one is overall, I'd say, pretty good. The second one, I'd say, is very good. And then the third one definitely drops the ball. No out of the ordinary takes here.
Kind of.
Yeah?
I think the first and second are pretty on par.
On par with what?
They each do to each other, I mean.
Okay.
I think one does something better than the other. Like each one has their own things that they do better, but I do think they're about the same in terms of quality. They're not bad. That's what I'm trying to say. I just think they're, But
I
the
don't
third
know.
one is definitely. No, sorry. The first and second one are enjoyable. They are good movies, and I have a few problems with both. But they are good movies in different qualities, so different ways. Um, the third one is just good because it's terrible.
Yeah, fair enough.
and it tries to do things that I appreciate, but also know it just doesn't work.
Missed the mark on a few bits.
Yeah, and that's the one that apparently, if you didn't know, Sam Raimi did apologize for, which is fucking blows my mind. I've never heard of a director apologize for me.
Oh, really?
Not that I've heard. Not that I've seen.
I guess.
Common?
I wouldn't say it's common. Someone like remastered Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and I think after it was remastered, like it was done in a different resolution, so you could like see cameramen in a few of the shots, and it was just a mess. And I'm pretty sure after they did that, they were like, "Yeah, don't watch it. Just watch the original."
Of that father who took out all the gay scenes in the new Star Trek season for his kids.
Wait, did that happen?
Yeah, a dad went through all the new season of Star Trek and removed all the gay scenes because his kids didn't like them being gay from it. He so quote unquote says.
Gotcha.
Really hilarious. I think it's fucking hilarious. There's no.
That's kind of funny.
So, you have the script up?
Yeah.
All right, let's do it. So,
right.
The opening scene.
So it opens on the it opens on the monologue, right? He's running after the bus.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it shows all these other characters. It shows two characters that are kind of important, and then one that's like, I wish I was him, but nope, that's me, Miles Maynard, Peter Parker.
Yep, he's running after the bus.
I'm late for the bus.
Yep, you can draw quite a few things off this right away. He's like got the glasses, skinny kind of white boy. So we can immediately sort of establish a character here.
Yeah. Especially in 2003, where like back in the day, that was seen as what nerds look like.
Imagine referring to 2003's back in the day. Jeez.
But I was gonna say, like, then nerds weren't really like the quote unquote popular thing. Like, you didn't want to be associated with that word. Not that saying it kind of is nowadays, but it definitely back then was not seen as a popular.
I definitely think things have changed.
Yeah. So seeing this kid nowadays, you're like, why are all the jocks seen as the cool kids? And just like that's just how it was.
Yeah.
Especially very early on.
Yeah, I think it's the way that calmed down.
The way that the first day plays out with how Peter Parker behaves is very in character when it comes to just in adaptation of the comics. He's very, to himself, very not that he's not interested in people, but like he's very socially inept, and he is throughout the movie, which is always good. And he definitely does feel, as they call him, mild mannered.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Are you Googling to double check that I'm correct on that?
No. That all sounds good to me. So I guess like the first major plot event that happens is they go on their field trip to the
Well, we meet William Dafoe and Oscorp and Harry before all that.
That's like right before. Yeah. So okay.
Yeah.
So we
we can start there.
Right. So the next two characters that we get introduced to would be Willem Dafoe and Willem Dafoe. Norman Osborn and Harry Osborn. Harry's, Peter's best friend, and Norman is his father. So
obviously likes Peter.
Yeah. So we kind of start off. Harry and Norman seem to not have a very great relationship. Harry doesn't really want to be seen like in Norman's nice car, like he's
Right.
this big, rich, big deal. He just wants to
He just
kind
wants to
of
be a
be
normal
more
kid.
normal. Yeah.
Yeah. There's a throwaway line in this movie, I believe, where like he says that like he flunked out of every private school he went to, and now he's going to not private school.
Public
What is it
school.
called? Public school,
Yeah.
which is something that like an average kid would want, or not want, but something like him would want. He doesn't want to go to these private schools. He wants to be just every other kid.
Yeah.
So I
Absolutely.
think it's a nice line that they just there. It's like, oh hey, yeah, you're right.
Right. So
But as they so go ahead.
yeah, so like Harry gets out of the car and he goes and meets Peter, but he like forgot his backpack, so Norman comes out and brings it to him, and then he gets to see Peter, and they like by the way they talk, you can tell they kind of have a relationship together because they're both very smart. They're both scientists essentially, or soon to be,
Yeah.
and Harry kind of feels pushed to the side because he's not smart in that sense.
No, he is not very intelligent.
Nah, especially not to the same
Like
degree as Peter.
he's not dumb, but he's not like
Right. Well, he
his father.
struggles.
Yeah.
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 So,
But we do see throughout this interaction, Willem Dafoe seems to be a nice person. Seems to care about his kid. He just does seem to be a nice person.
yeah, overall, good guy.
And yeah, overall a good guy. But as we see through this film, he slowly changes. But we're here to talk about Peter. So they go inside and they're starting to talk. Um, Peter Parker gets a chance to talk with Mary Jane, who's met briefly, but like he did she was on the bus, and yeah, that's not really an introduction. But we see that he loves Mary Jane, and then he says, "Hey, can I get some pictures for the school newspaper?" And I would like to go on a little tangent here about those photos you take, if you don't mind.
Sure.
They fucking suck. So the way he asked Mary Jane to pose for the photo is that he has her pose, like he asks for the photo if he takes the photo, and then her immediate response is to get into a position to take the photo. That's not what you do with photography, because if that's what's happening, what people will get from that image is that since it's the photo of like all the spiders behind her, people will assume, oh, she must be the lead scientist because she's standing in such a way in front of all the spiders. But fucking no, she's not. It's just a student looking at them in awe. That would have been a more interesting fucking photo, Peter Parker. Unless you're taking it to jerk off to her later. I don't know. It's never brought up again. It's just one of those things that just infuriates me. It's like, does not have fucking photos work.
Yeah, you think that all of the high school kids would assume that this other high school kid is the head scientist because she's standing in front of the spiders?
What? What if someone who isn't from the high school sets that paper out? Okay, it's still just even if it's just the fucking photo.
Why is someone who's not at the high school looking at the photos?
I don't know. 2003. Perms could be in the building.
Okay.
It's still a problem, even for just in general as a journalist. You don't take photos without asking for permission, but you do. But you don't take photos when they are purposely positioning themselves in the photo. Because if you do that, then it's going to look shitty. Because now it doesn't look staged. It's a staged photo.
So?
It's a problem. You don't take staged photos. They don't look as human.
No, a lot of people take staged photos all the time. In fact, most of the photos you see are going to be staged photos. Most of the photos are shit.
Yes.
Ah. I see. Okay.
No, not all staged photos are shit. I'm just saying, when it comes to journalism, it is important to not use staged photos. If you have no other way to take the photo, use a staged photo, but that is not the way you go. And if Peter Parker just took a photo of her looking at the glass of the spiders, it'd be way more interesting of a photo than her fucking turning her back to it, going like, ha ha ha, like leaned up against someone else, like the fucking sitcom.
So, in a world where you are timid Peter Parker and you
Yeah.
ask Pretty Lady who you have a crush on if you may take a picture of her and she immediately says
Mhm.
yes, then starts moving, are you like, no, stop?
Yes.
No, he would not do that.
I would actually. He would. Peter probably would not have asked her if he is that weak. He would just taken a photo.
Which is what he did. But no, he's got to
Yeah,
ask.
but without asking.
No, you've got to.
Does he though?
Yeah, you
There's also
absolutely
could be
should
the
ask
theory that
someone's
he's just
permission
taking.
before you take a picture of them.
There's also one of the situations where he could just be taking the picture so he can jerk off later.
That is probably not the situation, especially since he says, I'm
Oh,
taking
he
this for a
can
school
see
fiction.
later in the movie. We see that he can see her through his window.
That's right, so why does he need a picture to jerk off? It's
What
like
if she's
free
not
porn
home?
across the street. That helps my point.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, sorry about that change. That got me really mad.
That's alright, you can be retarded on stream. I'm cool with it.
Yeah,
I like it.
Talking about Peter's shyness, or Peter's like unique behavior, it's still pretty great. The way that everyone acts is pretty fantastic all the way through.
Was it the acting?
Well, the acting, the facial expressions, the way everyone moves feels very organic.
Yeah, I'd say it's all pretty good for the most part.
Yeah.
We talked a lot about it a little bit. There's like, whenever you're watching the movies, certain extras can kind of stand out as being goofy. But
yeah,
I'd say definitely for the most part, the acting's pretty solid.
Mm-hmm. Everyone's, or even, I think even better sometimes than just solid. Like, out of this world, fantastic.
Yeah, I'd say. I could agree with that.
Yeah. But we're getting off track. We got to talk about the scene that starts it all. The scene where he gets bitten.
Oh, he's like taking the picture of her, and then the spider's coming down from the ceiling.
Yeah.
Crawls around on his hand a little bit. Yeah. And then bites him.
Mm-hmm. And we watch in the background as screen literally shows what's happening in his body. Like this is what would happen if a human got bit by the spider. We don't know why we think this would happen, but it feels like this is what would happen.
I don't think that's what the screen's just showing, like a change in a DNA strand. And then it's just this new species and has a picture of the spider. Don't you think that might just be representing what happened to the spider instead of what happens when you get bit by it?
I don't know. It feels very strange that it shows him being bitten, and then it shows the DNA strand now having random strands from the spider in his DNA. Or in the DNA strand. It feels like it's trying to like suggest something.
No, I think it's definitely like trying to suggest something. But I think in the universe, yeah.
Within the universe, it's probably just showing like this is what this spider has. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying it's a weird way of doing it. It's like, oh hey, for those of you who are stupid and didn't listen to the lady talk to everyone, telling them about what the spider can do, here's a visual.
Yeah. Doesn't hurt to set things up more than once. It's all about the threes.
I think it's a good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Rule threes.
So then we cut over to Osborn's lab where they're where they're testing the glider out with a test pilot. And there's like some like military generals there or representatives. And he's like walking around telling them about the progress they have made on their project. We find that there's like a formula or like a super soldier formula in addition to the glider. And
I just go like, oh, by the way, here's a formula for power.
What?
They're just kind of like, oh, like this is the point where it's just like, oh, hey, okay, cool. There's just drugs and shit in here. Okay, cool. Captain America, got it.
Exactly. And he's like the generals like expect this to all be perfected in an amount of time, and then Osborn's assistant is like, the animal testing isn't going well. They're super aggressive. We need to go back to formula. Need to like restart.
And or like trying to lie through his so like, no, it's good. We're good to go. We keep going for it. And the other guy's being completely honest.
Right.
Which is kind of a dick move, but
yeah. I mean, it makes sense. Like, this is his company. He cares about it a lot. And if he loses funding, then like it could all be over. But
if he already knows that it's going to cost human lives, so it's kind of, you're already not on my good side there, bud.
Right. Well, I guess
but yeah, so
he probably won't be. He's probably not 100% sure, but it definitely doesn't seem worth the risk.
Yeah.
So after that,
we meet Ben and Aunt May.
Yeah. So Peter goes home, and he's like all drowsy, super old.
Yeah.
They're pretty old.
They're pretty old.
They're not like confined to wheelchairs and useless.
Well, one of them is about to be pretty useless.
Bad joke. So Peter's like all drowsy and seems sick. So he just like goes straight to his room and passes out.
Ask his aunt and uncle to stay 6 feet from him.
Oh yeah, the classic. So
and then he passed out in his room, and then it goes back to William Dafoe, who's just like, fuck it, test it on me.
Yep. There's like some like hallucinations and some flashes, and then it skips right over to back to the lab at night.
Doesn't it do the jump scares? In this scene, is this when the jump scares happen?
I wouldn't call them jump scares, but there's like some flashes.
There's also a weird skeleton that just appears. Like a skull just appears on the screen. I don't get it.
Why is that weird?
Why is there a skull? There's no need for a skull.
I mean, it's like an X-ray of him.
What? But it doesn't do anything. It's just the skull, and then it flies away.
And besides, he's like hallucinating.
Why would you need a skull?
I don't know. Why not?
Weird. It's just weird. It's like, spider, man, skull.
Sure.
I don't know. It's just weird to me.
All right.
It just looked weird.
So then,
it's you were talking about how what's his face turns into the Green Goblin.
Yeah. So he like takes the formula himself. He like starts seizing, and the assistant the whole time is like, "This is a bad idea. It's a bad idea. I don't like this. Not a good idea." And Norman's just like, "Nope, we're doing it." And so he starts seizing. The assistant tries to go save him, and he passes out. And then he wakes up and kills his assistant.
No. His assistant sees his heart stop, so then he runs in and tries to like bring him back to life.
Right.
Which is very admirable, but then he dies for it. So.
Right. Because we can't have good things.
Yeah,
and he like, and Willem Dafoe like mockingly says "back to formula" and then tosses him across the room. And that's how he dies.
So dumb. It's so dumb. Yeah. But it's like the good kind of dumb.
Yeah.
Where you're sitting there going like, okay, I got it.
Let's see. So then Peter wakes up. He's all muscular now.
He's all hot and sexy.
Yep. His glasses don't work anymore. They're like, he's out of focus when he's wearing them, but in focus without them.
No. He has better vision. It's not his glasses are broken.
No, they're not working for him because he has better vision.
They said they're not working.
Yeah, no, his glasses broke because he got bit by a spider. They need to be recalibrated.
Fuck, do you remember those touchpad or touch screen TVs that the teachers used to have in schools?
Like the smartboards?
Yeah, smartboards. Like every fucking time that they had to use them, they had to recalibrate it because it wasn't listening.
Yeah, is that terrible?
It was so fucking terrible.
But they still bought them for every class in every school. Yeah, I remember.
I had one teacher who was like fucking pissed when he got one. He's like, I hate this piece of shit. I'm never gonna use it.
Yeah. They're always like tapping the targets to try to line up the pen calibration. Yeah, it's
The
ridiculous.
kids kept like clapping, going like, yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Idiots.
Fuck, I forgot. Fuck.
Anyone within like
Alright.
3 years of our age will understand exactly what we're talking about.
Yep. Anyone older or young. Well, maybe younger would understand, but like anyone older,
Nah,
they're abnormal.
they got better smart boards.
Oh, did
They
they
got
really?
those other boards that you can actually write on.
Oh yeah, yeah. The one with like the 4 pens.
Yeah,
Yeah,
either that or smart boards fix their technology. But
that's
anyway,
fun. Sorry, guys. I took down memory lane right there.
Peter goes to school.
And his powers are starting to fluctuate.
Oh, he's like following Mary Jane to school and he's gonna talk to her, but then she gets picked up by her friends and he misses the bus again.
Well, he's talking to her. He's talking to her from very far away.
Yes,
And like
that must
under his
be it.
breath. So well, no, I'm just saying like it's because he's nervous. He's like, okay, this is what I'm going to say to her. This is what I'm going to say.
Right, he's
And
thinking
by the
about what
time
he's
he's
gonna
done,
say.
yeah. And then and he says, oh, okay, maybe not. And
And
it's
then
just
he
like,
doesn't.
oh, because he feels bad. He's obviously interested in this girl, and like now he's like, oh, okay, that's fine.
Guess I will not be speaking to her today. Honestly, for the better.
Yeah. It's yeah, you know what? Honestly, for the better.
If only he just took no for an answer. Could have saved
If only
ourselves
like someone else. If
so many
only Mary
headaches.
Jane was going to be.
So,
Uh,
I like how you said this was going to be a shorter episode and we're 27 minutes in. So,
we also just finished talking about like whiteboards for 2 minutes, so
you know.
yeah.
So at school, he is, Wikipedia says, metamorphosized into a more muscular physique. But at school, he finds that he can produce webs through his wrist. And he also
Yeah,
has
there's a
heightened reflexes and better
yeah,
awareness. One could call Spidey sense, but I wouldn't.
yeah.
Uh,
Dizzy would probably get on our ass.
what?
It's because Dizzy sees.
What? Speak
What?
like a human.
It was a joke, but it's a terrible joke, so never mind.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Uh,
But the one thing I was gonna say about the scene where like he's like worried about all his power, that like he has a spider web attached to one of the platters, and like nobody comments on how the platter is falling behind him. And, like, clearly a weird.
right. No one
thing.
like is interested in why this spider web is here.
And why it's so strong, because like normal spider webs would not be able to hold, like from a human is first of all a human being able to hold a spider is no.
Right.
And secondly, one that's actually carrying something like that is another big no.
Why's that?
At least I think so. I don't know how much tensile strength can a spider web hold.
Oh, it's actually insane. Spider webs?
Really?
They're like insanely strong. Yeah. Well, think about how thin they are when you see them. So imagine if one was like the size of a rope. Imagine if a rope fiber was the size of a spider web and how easily you'd be able to break that.
Dragline silk has a tensile strength of roughly 1.3 GPa. The tensile strength that listed for steel might be slightly higher, 1.65 GPa, but spider silk is a much larger depth material. So the given weight of spider silk is 5 times as strong as the same weight of steel. Jesus.
There you go.
Interesting.
We should weaponize spider web.
We should weaponize spiders.
No, I don't want that in the world.
I do. I want people to go into a fight and go, uh-oh.
Actual, like, riding spiders into battle.
Spider jockey.
Right? It'd be like that crappy Jurassic Park movie.
Which one?
Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. Where they're like, this
What?
dinosaur is like a living tank. And it's just like, why would you want that? Now you have a tank that poops on the ground and can get sick. And needs time to heal.
Jurassic World was trying to like talk about how terrible it is that humans sell animals, but it's dinosaurs and it's really stupid.
Why is it? Wait, it's stupid because it's dinosaurs?
No, it's stupid because it's just a stupid film, not because it's dinosaurs.
Oh.
Okay. Dinosaurs cool, film's stupid.
I like dinosaurs.
It's just like fucking the girl who's like part dinosaur or some shit. I'm not gonna spoil it. It's
part dinosaur.
It's so dumb.
Shit, no.
Was she part dinosaur? Or
no, she's a clone. She's a clone.
Oh, that's right. She's a clone.
Yeah, she's part dinosaur. Jeez.
I thought she was part dinosaur.
Why? Once she was like, I had to because they're like me, you took that as, oh, she must also be a dinosaur.
Well, because I don't want to, because I don't know who's it.
Spoilers for Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom.
Doesn't she press the button to free all the dinosaurs?
Yeah.
And like it's supposed to be like how the genetically modified / cloned creature decided if the genetically modified / cloned creature should be free.
Yeah.
But it's dumb.
Well, yeah. Dude. Little lesson for everyone real quick. Just so you guys know, almost everything is genetically modified in some way, shape, or form. And it's a good thing.
Sure.
It really is. Yeah. When Chipotle's talking about how they don't have any GMOs in their food, maybe that's why they're giving everyone E. coli. Like, it's legitimately a pretty good thing to keep some things genetically modified. It will benefit us.
Yeah. I am a firm believer that some things should be, like, not all food, but like a good portion.
I don't know about like designer babies or something. Like, that seems a bit too far, but
that seems to be like we're playing God now. But,
right. But
we don't want to get. We're not going to get religious in an episode of Spider-Man.
Right? No, why never. But geez, man, like if you can grow a different kind of wheat, and that wheat is resistant to disease, then maybe it's for the better that we use that instead.
And on top of that, we could also help. We might even be healthier too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go. Controversial thoughts on Two Broken Thumbs.
Anyways, back to this piece of shit movie.
Anyway, back to the fantastic Spider-Man movie. I would say amazing, but we'd get confused.
So there's no amazing Spider-Man movie. What are you talking about?
Yeah, no. So our boy Peter gets himself in a little fight. Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, Peter.
The Flash and the funny meme of you wouldn't want to fight me. I wouldn't want to fight me neither.
Yeah, that's a great line. I don't know what you're talking about.
It's a great line. It's also just a good meme. This movie's like culmination of a bunch of good memes.
It's very comic booky.
Yeah.
Like, you could turn this movie into a comic book and it would work very well.
Yeah.
But anyway, during the fight, he realizes that his reaction time is up a bit as he's like continuously dodging punches. And then when he does punch back, he knocks Flash across the hallway. So it's like insane, right?
Yeah.
So then he it kind of dawns on him what he's just done, and he runs away. And while
it's mad too, by the way. Everyone gets mad at him too. Like, why would you do that? Why would you punch him?
Well, it's weird because like Harry's like, "Yo, that was amazing," and Mary Jane is like all scared. It's like it's weird, but
Interesting to me, at least, is that it makes sense because, or not makes sense, but I mean, kind of. It does, no, that's right. It makes sense because we see later that Harry is interested in violence, just a little bit.
hmm?
So you can see that, like, oh, hey, stand up for himself. Oh, no, no, fuck, I'm thinking of Eddie Brock. Never mind. Sorry,
Okay.
ignore that. One character.
So outside, Peter is like standing up against a wall, and then he decides that he's gonna try to climb. Well, he like looks at his hand, and like little barbs are kind of coming out of his fingers.
Yeah,
So he
which always
to
confused me.
tries to climb it, and this works actually.
So why is it? Is it like the hair on his skin, his hair on his fingers is now barbed wire?
It just seems like kind of like a fish hooks almost. I guess
Yeah,
I
but
don't.
it's
I
his
don't know how.
hair, right?
I wouldn't say so. I well, spiders can climb up stuff, right? And it's
Yeah,
because their legs are very small, so they can like. It's like how we can climb rocks as long as there's big enough like gouges in the rocks for us to like get our fingers into. Spiders can climb stuff because same reason they can get their legs in like little holes and pores in the walls, and then they're able to climb really easily. But that doesn't make a ton of sense. So I think this is just the movie's way of giving our character a way to climb stuff. The part that's weird about it that none of the Spider-Man movies seem to really address is he seems to be able to control when he's stuck to something and when he is not. Does that
weird
make
to me,
sense?
but I don't think that's like. Yeah, it doesn't really throw me out because it's just like, oh, I'm assuming it's just like a fight or flight sort of situation.
Yeah, I was thinking maybe he can
He,
like when he's thinking about it, like he can force him into his hand or force him to extend out. But they address it in like Spider-Verse. Like uh Miles is like walking around and his hands are sticking and stuff and he can't let go of anything. It's like
yeah,
a mess. But yeah, this movie doesn't force that upon us, which is kind of nice.
it's like, okay, this is how he gets powers. I'm like, okay, cool.
Right. So he's climbing around on the buildings, like jumping from building to building, engaging in some parkour. Uh, and then he tries to close a really huge gap with a spider web, and he fails, doesn't really make it. The angles aren't all
Yeah.
right, and he like
Also, you can definitely tell it's made in 2003 because like the spider looks just like a rope.
yeah. The CGI throughout
But
this
I could look
movie,
past it.
in the second half especially, is a bit sketchy. You know, a bit Star Wars prequely, but overall, for a 2003 movie, I don't think it's bad.
Especially, especially compared to what 3 looks like. But we'll get to
Right. And I try to not discredit movies for poor
that.
CGI.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just
We had the discussion already, I think, on which one did we talk about that on?
I'm sure we did.
Not Elden
Effects will always age. That's why you gotta have good writing, folks, because that doesn't age.
I think it could age.
Good writing?
Because, like, depending on when it was written, it could be seen. What's a good example? I can't remember off my head. The way something's written back in the day, um, and then how it's written now is to be questioned. Maybe it's cold outside is like the go-to example. Where back in the day it sounded fine, but like nowadays people think it's a song about a guy trying to keep a girl inside to have sex with her against her will.
Yeah, I disagree with that entirely.
No, I do too, but that's the first example I can think off the top of my head. But I'm sure there's probably something, but
Well, the song was original. That was weird. Okay, never mind. The song was originally
okay.
written by like a dude and his wife. They would sing it at parties. Like,
And even the family has come out and said that's not the problem. But by the way, the new one version of that song fucking sucks. It is god awful.
what? I lost you
But
there.
no, I was saying it's god awful. The new song sucks. It's so bad. It's so goddamn bad.
Is there a new song?
They redid it. Yeah, they redid the song because people were complaining about how it sounds like Night Rape.
Oh, that's dumb.
Yeah. No, it is dumb. Yeah.
That song's not about rape, folks.
Back to the Spider-Man story.
Just a thought. Anyway, back to Spider-Man. Instead of rape songs, apparently.
So Spider-Man gets a fight and then goes home and then sees Mary Jane is in a fight with her father, which we don't really get to see. I don't think we don't get to. Well, we get to see him once, but he's not like a character.
We see him like twice in that movie, and then he gets mentioned a couple other times. He's a dick.
Yeah, but he's basically Pete. What?
He's a dick, but we don't really get much on it.
He's a drunk, basically.
Yeah.
And he just acts like a complete asshole.
Yep.
Yeah. So we see Mary Jane talk to Peter, going like, "Did you hear all that?" And Peter's clearly doesn't want to say he did because that would be really shitty of him. But he can't also lie to her, and he's just very nervous. And honestly, I will say one of my favorite things about this movie is just the one-on-one character interaction because they all do it so well. Like, I hate Mary Jane in the next two movies, but this scene with her and Peter is really where basically Peter's the one who like helps kickstart her career of becoming an actress. He's just like, "Hey, you can do it. You're amazing. You can be great at it. Be amazing."
Yeah.
And it's a very genuinely sweet moment. I just wish Mary Jane was
one second.
Okay.
All right, I'm back.
Welcome back.
Thank you.
Yep. No problem. It was very quiet, so I could wait for you to return.
I said I'd be right back.
I know.
Okay. So,
we left off at the sweet moment between Mary Jane and Peter Parker and the abusive dad and yada yada.
Right. So right after that, Flash comes and picks her up, and he's got a sweet ride, right? Real nice car. And
real nice car.
Yeah. And that procs Peter to think, that's a nice car. So then in the next scene, he's looking through like the newspaper, wants to get himself a car, something to impress Mary Jane with. So,
right.
But prices are high. He's a high school student. He doesn't have a job, doesn't have any money. So he goes looking for something to do, and he sees in the newspaper that he can get paid $3,000 for wrestling.
For not wrestling, not just any kind of wrestling.
What kind of wrestling?
Yes, wait. Yeah, you're going to pick wrestling. I thought it was something else, and I thought I sounded smart, but I was wrong.
Understood. A fighting pit of some type.
Yeah, fighting pit.
And so the challenge, and Ben actually mentioned that some other time in the movie, but the challenge is to survive 3 minutes against this current champ, a bone saw. So the bone saw. So
played by a very late what's his name? Oh no, Macho Man Randy Savage.
Ah, yes.
Yeah.
Of course. So he shows up. He's like registering to fight, and the lady there is like, "You don't want to do this, skinny white boy." And he's like, "No. We'll be fine. We'll be fine."
I do.
And then he's like, he's up next, and the announcer guy's like, "What's your name?" And he's like, "The Human Spider." The announcer guy's like, "That name sucks." And they announces him as Spider-Man. And there you go. Now we got an origin story for our name out of the way.
There you go.
So he goes in. All the girls are like, "Geez, you're gonna lose, you weak little pathetic piece of garbage." And like the guy who had just finished fighting, like his leg is broken. He's just out. So this is about to be intense. And then they drop the cage. He's got himself a cage match, which Spider-Man is not happy about.
He was not.
But
yeah, he wasn't expecting. He was like, "Wait, what?"
Right. But I'd say it works out in his favor because like he could use that a lot better than other people could, considering he sticks to things and has webs. So
She doesn't really use her in the fight except for once, but still.
Yeah, he just webs once. But at first it looks like he's gonna lose, and they fight, and he ends up winning, and he KOs him after 2 minutes, and because of that, they only pay him $100 instead of the full 3,000, and so he's like, for good reason, pissed about that. And then right as he's leaving, someone else comes in to
rob him. Not rob him, rob the business.
Right, the establishment. And then Peter has an opportunity to stop the guy as he's running away with the money, but he doesn't. And he gets away.
Because he gives them really sick line. I forgot where it was I forgot.
I missed the part where that's my problem.
Yeah. I missed the part where that's my problem. Because he says that to the guy says it to him.
Yeah, they both say that to each other. So it's kind of like him taking a bit of revenge. Now,
also,
we have to rewind a little bit because we missed something very important.
I'll go for it.
So before he went in to go fight, Uncle Ben tries to have the iconic talk with him. And he makes sure to hit on that he knows that Peter's been working out in his room. You can tell that he's, changed, and he's got a certain power to him. He's the word power in universe, obviously. He just means like strength, but it's a nod to the audience because we're aware that's real power. And he says, this Flash guy, he started the fight. He probably kind of deserved what happened, but you gotta be responsible. Don't take it too far. What's the wow, I'm blanking.
What the great power, great responsibility line?
The great power comes great responsibility line.
The fucking crutch of Spider-Man's character.
Right, yeah, just blanked on it in the middle of our Spider-Man review. That's like the Giga Brain moment right there.
The Max Chad.
Yep.
I don't even remember what the quote is. I'm so smart.
Yeah. But Peter kind of like brushes all this off. He's like kind of just, tossing the conversation back in his face.
And, right, he's like, I don't need fuck you, Dad.
Right.
But
Uncle Ben's like, I know I'm not your father. And he's like, okay, stop pretending to be then. And then he gets out, Uncle Ben drives away, and then you can kind of tell right away Peter kind of regrets saying that it's like, oh well, sort of. So, yep. After the fight and the robber gets away, Peter goes outside to the meeting place, which was right outside the library, and Uncle Ben is there, and he's been shot. There's people all crowded around, and then he dies while Peter's holding his hand, and it's real.
So here's the thing about that.
Okay.
My roommate wanted to bring this up and says that it's really funny how all these police are currently surrounding him. They said that there's ambulance on their way, but after looking it up, there is an 88% chance that he could have survived the gunshot if people helped him out by helping him his breathing. But instead, the police just didn't touch his body and just let him die.
Do you know what you do for a gunshot wound?
I don't, but my roommate was saying there was something you should do for it.
I don't know. I can only imagine that police officers would be trained in first aid, but
especially something as something that's going to happen a lot, where you get shot.
Gunshot wound is like, I don't want to say common because it's not, but like almost common.
Yeah, especially in that career field.
yeah, in that massive city.
So, not saying that it's like a big plot point, but it's also something that kind of hurts me.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, they could have saved his life, but instead they just made sure nobody bothered him while he died.
I mean, I guess we don't really know where he gets shot. Because
In the
that makes a
chest, remember
difference.
we learned.
Well, where?
Somewhere below the waist, or not below the waist, but like near the belly. Not anywhere above, because the way that he's shot, we see later in the third movie, the gun is out of frame, but he has the gun to his. He says the character says he has his gun to his stomach,
Does he say that?
and he says that. Then he says he gets bumped into, it, and that's what causes him to shoot. Not that he has it against his stomach, but it's implied by the way he's holding the gun.
Yeah, no, I know it's definitely like his stomach or his thorax, like just that area, but I don't. That's a hard judgment call. Based
Yeah,
only on Boy Scout and lifeguarding knowledge, I'm pretty sure someone shot. You're applying some pressure to try to lower blood loss, but
yeah, that's what it says.
if he hits something
Stop the bleeding,
critical,
clean the wound, find and remove the bullet, find and remove the bullet pieces.
that's not something you
Find and
should do
remove.
in the middle of the road.
If the wound was severe, surgery. This is surgery.
Yeah, you're not doing
Not
surgery
yeah.
in the middle of the road.
Could.
No,
Not that you should, but you could.
too unclean and no, big bad. But anyway, I digress.
Yes. But sorry, I wanted to get on that about how it's the police officer's fault for his dad dying.
No, whoa. No.
What? Oh, I mean, it's not the. God.
How did we go from there's a chance the police officers could have saved him to it's their fault?
Sorry. Yes, they could have saved. They could have saved.
Maybe
It's not their fault. They could have saved. They could have saved.
Maybe could have saved him. Jeez. God, you're the worst.
Anyways,
it's like in Civil War when Spider-Man says, if something happens and I could have prevented it, but I didn't, then it's basically like I did it. It's like, whoa. No. I understand the sentiment.
If a bank gets robbed and you didn't stop it, you didn't rob the bank.
Yeah. It's like, God, I'm committing a lot of crimes right now.
You know how many people are committing prostitution right now? I can't stop.
Oh no, not that.
But yeah, no. So Ben dies. Spider-Man gets mad and he goes after the guy and tries to kill him.
Chases him into a he's like chasing him down. He crashes the car. He follows him into it's like practically ruins.
Yeah, it's like ruined sewer-like thing, but it just is a random building.
It's like a factory, I guess you could say. Maybe probably abandoned.
Yeah.
It's weird. But
very strange.
He runs into him in there. And the guy's, like, give me a chance. And he's like, what about my uncle? Did you give him a chance? And that's when he like really sees the man's face. And it occurs to him it's the same guy who he let get away when he was the guy who stole from the wrestling arena. And so he's kind of like kind of stunned, kind of dazed by that fact. And the guy pulls his gun on him. So Spider-Man, I think, punches him. And then like takes a step forward. The guy steps back, trips on something, and then falls out of the window and dies. And
did he die?
Yeah, he dies from the fall.
Spider-Man didn't kill him in the fall.
Huh?
Spider-Man didn't kill him in the fall.
Right. You could make an argument for Spider-Man like taking a step forward and spooking him, so he falls. So he steps backward, trips, and Spider-Man didn't like deal a death blow to him, but
yeah, he is actively
You
so
could,
even
if it was me, I'd probably feel guilty.
Yeah, but
which he does.
He does feel guilty. He's like, oh shit, I'm never gonna kill ever again.
Yeah, it's very much
And
like, wow, I just did that. He kind of has like a moment because like the police show up, but Spider-Man's already fled, and
yeah,
then he's like on top
which
of a
I think
building
is
or something, just kind of thinking to himself, and you can tell that he like regrets what he just did to a degree.
yeah, and which is why the rest of the films, most of the fights that do happen, or at least the endings, have the main villain killing themselves. It's ever Spider-Man who deals a death blow for them,
Yeah, similar
or at
to
least
the
yeah,
whole Batman logic of I will not be killing anyone.
yeah, oh yeah. Get on that high horse you got there, Batman. What's it, the Arkham Knight games?
He doesn't kill people in this. He KOs them.
Yeah, but like sometimes you look at it, like, how did that man fucking survive?
Dude,
You
Batman knows
know,
when to pull his punches.
and when to like
However, if you
pull
want to
back his
criticize
punches.
Batman for killing, I would point to Snyder's DCEU. Batman does a lot of killing
God,
there.
no, he doesn't. Snyder, that's not a real. That's not real. That isn't
That's not real Batman content. I agree.
real.
By the
Anyone who likes
way,
the
is
Snyder
everyone
Cut, get
excited
out.
for the Snyder Cut?
Oh, we're gonna review that, aren't we?
I hope so. Oh,
Oh hell yeah,
we
let's do
should
it.
review both.
I have not seen the original Justice League. I
Oh,
refuse to
you
watch it.
haven't? Ah.
No,
What would you say if I
because
told you
I
the
have
CGI is
DVD.
worse than the movies we just watched?
I would probably believe you, to be honest.
Yes. It's God, I
Um,
can't believe you haven't seen those. They're like Brandon's favorite movie. We should watch it.
that's why I didn't see him. Brandon has terrible taste.
Awful. Absolutely
That's,
terrible.
if Brandon tells me it's a good movie, I'm like, cool. I'm going to keep away from it like the plague.
Well, Brandon thinks all movies are good. He doesn't, but he I would say probably like 40 to 50% of the movies I've seen I say are good. He would probably say that about like 80% of the movies he's seen. So his bar for good and my bar for good are quite different.
Yeah,
If he says something's good, it might be good. It might be bad. And if he says something's bad, it's probably bad. Whereas you could
that's
interpret
what I'm
something
thinking.
that I say is bad as being good still.
Things are bad can be good, but
Well,
that came out weird.
how
You would
good
enjoy
how good
things.
does something have to be before you say it's good? You know? Like
Unironically, yeah,
right, like
that is a good question.
it's like
Like, so
so like the
for me and
first
Pat, we love playing the David Cage games. Ever played those games?
no.
They are terrible. Like, they are absolutely terrible.
Oh,
However, they are so terrible that they come back around to being funny, and they come
well,
back to being enjoyable.
okay. What about like I'm trying to think of like a good example of like a standard like decent movie. How about like the first Thor movie? Is that a good movie?
There could be less shots of the angle or the Dutch tilts, but I think overall it's a pretty solid movie.
I'd say it's solid. I don't think there's anything particularly unique or outstanding about it, but I don't think it's bad or like has any significant issues.
Like the Ant-Man and the Wasp.
You do or don't?
It's not like Ant-Man and the Wasp. It's not like that.
Is Ant-Man and the Wasp bad?
Oh, we'll get to that.
I haven't seen it in a long time.
Uh,
I remember it being kind
but
of confusing.
it's confusing, and that's what makes it bad, in my opinion.
Gotcha. That makes enough sense. I guess my point
Yeah.
is like, if a movie scores like a 70%, is that a good movie or is that like a mediocre movie?
To me, that's a mediocre movie with some good things in it.
Okay.
Like enough to suggest to watch it, but it's not gonna like make you re-question your life.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. I just find that interesting because like you'll watch some YouTubers and they'll say like almost everything is bad, and then you get a list of the movies they think are good, and it's like, oh yeah, these are all good movies, but surely you could give enough credit to these other like decent movies. But yeah, it's an interesting conversation I like to have with people. But anyway, where
we
were
are
we?
probably an hour into this if you want.
I don't know. I'm not at my computer. I'm laying in my bed now.
Same.
This is where the thoughts happen. Okay. Yikes, that didn't sound good. Let's see. Oh, my mouse is broken.
So we talked about Uncle Beth stuff, and then does he meet J. Jonah now?
Yeah. So
yeah, one of the best parts of the series.
Right. Actually, right before then, there's Jeez, excuse me. The other competing company, the company competing with Oscorp, is like they have their suit that's working out, and the military guys are there, and they're like, "Yeah, we're gonna give up on Oscorp." And then the crazed Norman Osborn.
I'm so happy that I'm getting rid of Osborn for my life, or some shit like that.
Yeah, something like that. And then the crazed Norman Osborn comes in and destroys the place, essentially eliminating the competition.
Huh? Yeah, well, no, he destroys the building. You're right. He just fucking destroys the entire facility.
Yep.
And destroys the company.
Yeah, pretty much.
In like one fell swoop, which always confuses me.
Just nukes them.
We'll get to a funnier scene, like
yeah. Right. So then, the next scene right after that is graduation. Spider-Man. Yeah, like
been a few months.
With
I
his.
Think it's suggested.
Yeah, an amount of time has passed. It's not very clear. But yeah, Peter's graduated. He sees Harry. Norman like congratulates Peter a lot more than Harry, and it is kind of adding on to the poor relationship that they have.
It also, well, not even just that, the way that he's just like, I couldn't believe you made it. Like, even that's like, wow, all right, cool, thanks, dick.
Right, exactly.
That's the kind of thing to say to someone when you're trying to be like friendly with them, but like, teach your dad. You don't say it to you.
Mm-hmm. And then Peter builds up the persona of Spider-Man a bit more. He designs and makes the suit.
So he makes the suit then, right? Does he make the suit?
I'm pretty sure that's the point in which he makes the suit.
I don't think they ever explained who made the suit, but I would assume it makes sense to
he says in Spider-Man 2, he says he made it himself, but we don't like see it happen. We just see him sketching out the design.
Yeah, and then suddenly he has it.
Right. Yeah. So then that's when he's like, like busting some small time thugs, like people like just stealing bikes or purses or whatever, and he's like webbing them up and
doing like common hero stuff.
Right. And that's when we meet the best character. First or second best character, but J. Jonah Jameson, of course. And that's when he hires Peter as the freelance photographer.
Yeah.
Let's see. Anything you want to say about all that?
He's fantastic. I mean, in all three movies, his comedy is great. I love his personality and how he's just like they basically just let him do whatever, and it works out really well.
Yeah, his writing is quite excellent. He plays the character very well, and he's got his whole staff there. Yeah, there's because he's the editor, and then you got the idiot and the large black man and the secretary or receptionist.
Yeah,
all recurring characters.
They're not like important, but they're all there.
Right, they all definitely assist in the atmosphere.
Yeah, it definitely makes it feel bustling, and everyone in the background too. There's a lot of people in the background too.
Yeah,
definitely feels very alive and busy.
Mm-hmm. Let's see.
Every scene with J. Jonah is very good.
Yep. Then we get the scene with Norman at the board meeting, and they find out that the board has voted to force Norman out.
which always confused me, but we're already too far into too deep into it to talk about that. But
Well, he's even though the company's named for him, most companies have a
yeah,
board, and collectively the people make up so you have like an amount of shares or like ownership of the
yeah, I get
company.
that.
Yeah. So odds are he is not the majority. So if they all vote together, they can get him out essentially. And that's what
Yeah, but
happens
then
because they're selling the
they still
company.
technically have part of his name as the
Well,
business.
that's
Like
kind of
it's
the
still
ironic part, right?
yeah. So now it's his name, but like they're still using part of his name. He
Yeah.
doesn't work there anymore.
Yep.
And then later, that entire board. Well, this is it the parade or when did the parade happen?
Yeah, the World Fair.
The World Fair happens,
Uh-huh.
and like Mary Jane is doing something. I don't remember what
She's
she's doing,
there
but
with
she's there.
Terry.
That Terry?
Yeah. They are there together. Peter's there taking pictures. And then the
Terry?
guy
What? Harry? You mean Harry, right?
That's what I said, Harry.
You said Terry.
No, I said Harry.
I'm pretty sure you said
Terry. All right, well, I can barely hear a word you
Terry.
say, so burn.
Oh shit, got me there.
Yep. So then our friend the goblin shows up, grenades some of our senior board members.
And just turns them into fucking skeletons.
Well, he hasn't turned them into skeletons.
No, but he disintegrates them down to their skeletons, and it's always been a weird scene to me because it's like, oh, he just has a bomb that can turn people to skeletons, huh?
Yeah, it's a shame he only had one.
That's what I was saying. It seems a little overpowered, if you ask me.
Yeah, think he would have. Yeah,
use it more often.
Yep, used it for something else. No.
Like, I don't know.
Guess not.
Spider-Man? I'm just spitballing here.
Well, at first he wants to turn Spider-Man, but there's definitely a point when that motivation changes. So this is about the point in the movie when the CGI looks its worst, when we have a man on a glider floating around, which it's pretty uncanny to see. But like I said, that's probably the worst of it. Other than that, usually pretty well off. So
yeah, I was also going to say the other thing is that like the balloons I think are CGI too, so they have a little.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense that they are. Okay, I didn't notice that.
Yeah, it feels like it, at least to me, because like we see Spider-Man bouncing on the balloons, and like later on we see the
yeah.
It's very strange to look at.
But
once again, we're not it's because it's a time period thing.
No, it's all good.
Yeah.
Like I said, I like it. It's very goofy. There's a lot of goofiness in this movie. Very the word that they use is campy.
It takes itself seriously, but also doesn't.
Oh, it's yeah. No one would ever say that there's no dramatic writing in comic books.
Yeah.
But yeah, they still got that campy feel to him, and it's Spider-Man, so he's gonna be all quippy, tossing out lines and being witty the whole time, which he does pretty decently, I'd say.
Amazing. I don't think any of the Spider-Man like quippy per se, but I do think this is probably one of the better ones.
Yeah. I think Civil War Spider-Man does it pretty well, but he's not in a lot of it.
A metal arm?
That's awesome.
It's not really him being quippy. It's more of him just being in shock of how many people are here.
I'd say it's quippy. I mean, it not that it doesn't make sense or anything, but if I had to describe it with a word. So, you could say they battle at the World Fair. It's more like Goblin causing chaos and Spider-Man trying to clean up after it quickly.
Yeah. The girl's in trouble.
Right? Girls in Trouble. Sam Raimi loves the screaming ladies.
Yep.
Goblin gets
Shortest
away.
cameo, Stan Lee.
Shortest cameo. Yeah, Goblin gets away with the line, "We'll meet again, Spider-Man." It's like, yes, perfect. I think everything else goes well for the most part.
Yeah.
Oh, that's when he saves Mary Jane from falling from a building and dying. There's that scene where they're flying through the air and she's clearly holding onto a mannequin and her hair is blowing the wrong way.
That's right. I pointed that out. It's really funny to me.
Yeah, I like that. That's pretty bad. Avoid those mistakes when you make movies, YouTube. So after that, Harry's talking to her on the phone, and I don't remember his exact words, but you can kind of infer what she's saying because he's like, "Amazing." Oh, he's not that amazing, is he? Oh, come on. And Peter's kind of smiling because he figures out, oh, she's talking about Spider-Man. She thinks I'm great.
Yeah, because we don't know, or she doesn't know yet that he's Spider-Man.
Right. Yep.
So like he's just being like, oh, she thinks my alter ego's cool. Well, I better see him more often.
Yep. So let's see.
Does he go down in the dark alleyway and get some cool? He gets saved by Peter.
What was that?
Isn't there a scene where like she goes down a dark alley and he's like she gets attacked and then he's saved? Like literally, it's just a random scene where she gets action scene.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember when that comes up.
I want to say it comes up after. I remember. I kind of remember. I don't know when it happens. It was like the first upside down kiss.
Right. No. I know what you're talking about. I don't see it in this description of the plot here.
I wonder why. It's because it's not important. But it's just a weird scene because it's just kind of there. It just kind of happens.
Well, it kind of establishes more reason for her being infatuated with Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I did.
But anyway.
Yeah. I think that happens around that time.
Yeah. At some point. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So Norman.
What happens next? Yeah.
So at some point, Green Goblin attacks J. Jonah Jameson, like busts through the wall, and grabs him, and he wants to know who is sending in the pictures of Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And Jameson
because
actually
Spider-Man works, or Peter Parker,
yeah, Spider-Man or Jameson doesn't actually rat him out, which is kind of impressive because he very much gives the impression that he doesn't really care about most people. So when
it's another thing about you keep your sources secret, you never give your sources away.
I guess could be either, but
yeah, that's a big thing in journalism. You never want to give away your secrets with you, who you give your sources.
All right. Well, either of those interpretations, I suppose. And Spider-Man shows up.
I like the idea that J. Jonah is actually just cares about Peter.
Yeah, I'd like to think he's a good guy, despite being harsh. So, Spider-Man shows up. Goblin gasses him and knocks him out, carries him away. Then they're like on the roof of a building, and Goblin kind of gives him a dad talk about how the world.
Let's burn the city.
Right. Like New Yorkers are garbage. Spider-Man. They eventually will not like you. Join me.
Also,
And
this is the scene I think where you get to see his mouth move, even though he has like teeth face thing on his face, and it's really creepy.
oh yeah, he's got like because there's like a cover that goes over his mouth.
Yeah. Well, not over his mouth; it goes around his mouth.
Right. Like on the mask, but then
Yeah,
it comes off for this, so you can actually see his mouth move. It's kind of awesome.
and it's really disgusting because like his teeth are gross, like they're not centered. Probably one. Yeah, that one. That works. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's just weird and gross.
it's intimidating.
The design of them, but yeah, definitely. Especially when he's telling you that like everyone sucks, everyone hates you.
Right. Yeah. I like it. For sure.
Yeah, very good scene. Very good scene. And then, Spider-Man doesn't do it because obviously he's Spider-Man.
Right. Yeah, you can get a Green Goblin face mask. Oh my gosh.
Bro, that's kind of cool.
Yo. All right, but anyway.
Yeah.
So at that point, I think the next big scene is they're having Thanksgiving at Peter's place. Peter and Harry. Jesus Christ. Peter and Harry
jump in time, but yeah.
Are living together in a little apartment. And
it turns out Harry. Sorry, we forgot to talk about MJ as much as she's important. MJ is dating Harry, but Peter does not know that because Harry did not tell Peter.
Well, they were at the
there you go.
The fair together.
Yeah.
Yeah. Huh? When does he find out?
Later. He finds out pretty early on because he sees Mary Jane at a place, and then she's just like, "Oh, I'm gonna go visit Harry. I'm dating him." He goes, "Oh, you are? I live with him, and he never mentioned you and shit like that."
Oh, yeah, I remember that now actually. Because
I mean, it's not important. It's Mary Jane, but still.
Okay.
Now they're at Thanksgiving. Yeah, I mean now they're at Thanksgiving, and like that Harry or not Harry. Osborn is starting to discover like
right before Peter. This they had the the fire, the baby,
the burning building,
in the burning building, and then they're like, oh my god, somebody's still in there, and you just hear the goblin scream, and Spider-Man goes right, and she's like pretending to be an old lady under a blanket, and that's him, and that's when we first get to see the flying blade bat things. He tosses like boomerangs almost, and they're all sharp. And Peter gets cut on his arm. This is important, I promise. So then it switches right from, because there's like an explosion in the building and Spider-Man gets out, but the goblin's still there. It goes right from that scene to Norman, who looks kind of sick, going up the elevator to their apartment.
He doesn't look well. He's got like baggy eyes. His face is very flushed.
Yeah.
Like the makeup department is amazing.
Oh yeah. Well, they're probably like, just don't sleep before this next shot.
oh god, that would be terrible. Just be like, okay, just be sleep deprived.
I mean, it's almost what it looks like. Plus, I think he's like a little bit sweaty.
Like it during the scene too. Yeah, he definitely acts like it during the scene too.
Yeah.
Throughout the scene, he's like very much like out of it, not interested, and then like once he starts piecing these together, he's like, "Oh shit, I gotta go."
Right. So
because I'll take this part.
Okay.
So Peter comes late, because he obviously was in the middle of saving the building, and comes in with cranberries, and then the Osborn comes in, and immediately Aunt May notices that his arm is bleeding really badly, and it looks as if his cut is super deep. And Osborn had noticed that on Spider-Man that cut was also that deep. And he starts to piece things together and like starts to pressure him, asking him, "Man, where did you say you got that injury?" And like he says that, but like clearly he knows it's Peter. And I think doesn't Peter figure out that Osborn is Green Goblin in the scene too?
Not immediately. Peter just gives
Not
like
immediately.
whatever run-of-the-mill response that he gave last time, and
Yeah,
then we get like a little scene where Norman's having like a little identity crisis, and because he's like a
and it's the
sane
scene with the
human, but
mirrors,
the
right?
mask, yeah, and the mask is like on the chair talking to him.
Oh, this one, yeah,
Yeah, because Norman doesn't want to hurt Peter, but the mask is like, you've got to. So,
yeah.
and then that's the scene where Aunt May is like doing her prayer, and then he like busts down her door,
It's like finish your prayer. Finish.
right, and hospitalizes her. And that's when Peter is like, oh crap, the goblin knows who I am.
Literally says the line, "He knows who I am," and it's a weird one, but also
Oh, I think it's good enough line. I mean,
yeah.
yeah, I
I
don't
think
know.
a lot of the I think a lot of the writing in this movie is pretty not bad, but like a lot of it's very much what's the word for? Like it gives information for people to understand better.
Yeah, I don't hate that, especially superhero
Yeah,
movies, because I generally feel like they're for the younger audience.
yeah,
Plus, like that line is so quick, like taking that is saving us 5 seconds. I don't know,
I get that.
but either way, um, that's when. So like the next day, Peter is staying with Aunt May, and that's when Mary Jane shows up because she's in the hospital now. And that's when Mary
Yeah,
Jane shows up and says that she is infatuated with Spider-Man, who's rescued her a few times. And
yep.
she asks
Means
if
Mary Jane loves.
what?
I was saying Mary Jane loves Spider-Man. You should never change her mind on that one.
Yeah, and yeah, and they have like a whole talk about because everyone thinks that Peter's in contact with Spider-Man, so she's like, "Oh, has he ever asked about me?" And he says yes, and yeah, it's real precious. And they're like holding hands when Harry shows up, and
Yeah,
that's
and
when
Harry is obviously upset.
yeah. Oh, at the jeez, at the Thanksgiving scene, Norman gives a whole talk to Harry, like, yeah, she just wants you for your money, and he's like, no, it's not the case. He's
Oh
like,
yeah,
whatever, just do what you want with her, and then get rid of her. And
yeah. Have
Harry,
sex for they.
right, and like Harry, like doesn't really stand up for her, and she gets frustrated, rightfully so for that.
Yeah,
And so they're kind of like at odds. And seeing this, Peter and Mary holding hands is like kind of a like slap in the face on top of it. And that's when Harry goes,
that's the weird thing. Is that to me that's very weird because I mean, fucking his mom or his aunt is in the hospital, like his last family that he knows of. I would also probably be consoling you by doing that. It's not fucking. I don't know what the immediate response to that is. Oh my god, it's because he loves or she loves him. I would say it's because she's saying she'll be there for him. Am I crazy?
um,
Like, because
I don't think
if
so.
if I, it makes sense. That makes sense that would be your conclusion. Is that it's because I think it's partially because they pull away so quickly once he enters, but I do think still the point still stands.
Hmm. I could agree with that, I think.
Yeah,
All
but
right.
that's just a slight thing.
Yeah, the whole thing.
Yeah.
Um, hmm. Do you want to talk about the little conversation that Harry and Norman have?
What conversation?
It's right after the hospital scene. That's when Harry's like, yeah, I saw him. MJ and Peter holding hands. Yeah, I think you were right about her. And that's when Norman is like, I haven't been a very good father to you. And Harry's all like, oh, well, you're a busy man, you know. Like, I understand you can't always be there. And he's like, no. That's not a good excuse.
I've been a terrible father. Absolutely terrible.
Yeah. And then he says, like, I'll make it up to you. And let me see.
So yeah, that's the only scene we get to see where like he feels any remorse for his behavior. And the rest of the movie, he's just a dick.
Yeah. Okay. Yep. The thing I like about this movie is each act kind of leads in everything that happens leads into a new character motivation, and like I think it's paced very well, and the scenes are very much set up where it's like introduction to character, introduction to hero, introduction to villain. They meet, check up on hero, check up on villain. They meet again. Check up on hero, check up on villain. They meet again. It's like very
back and forth, back and forth, back and forth.
Yeah, very clear. So when Jesus, I need to stop doing that. When Harry tells Norman that that Peter loves MJ, that prompts Norman to go and capture her, and that's when Peter is at the hospital with Aunt May still, and they have their little conversation. And she's like, oh, I can tell everyone knows that you like her. You just need to like say something. And that's the moment when he's like, wait, everyone? And he goes out to the payphone and he calls her and she doesn't pick up and he's leaving a message. And then the phone picks up and he's all excited and it's the Green Goblin and he's like, can Spider-Man come play? And that leads up to our final act for our boss fight.
Yes.
Yep.
Our boss fight, yeah.
Yep. And once again, campy and cartoony is the terms I would use here, as we've got the goblin holding Mary Jane in one hand and then a cable car full of children in the other hand.
I forgot that's how the fight is. Just like, here's a moral choice, Spider-Man.
Yeah, he totally says it like that too. Yeah, just like you never know when some freak is gonna do this.
Well, the thing is that like that cable car would have fallen way faster than Mary Jane.
What?
Like, wait, no, that's not how everything works. Never mind.
Are you familiar with Galileo?
Yeah, I forgot my immediate. I said that line. Then
Two broken thumbs, everybody.
I remember the meme of what is heavier, 10 pounds of feathers, 10 pounds of metal. The answer, 10 pounds of metal, or some shit like that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I forgot about that.
It's all good. So
yeah, they both are falling, and it's just like whoa.
And
yeah,
Spider-Man tries to save both, and he's doing pretty well. I don't know. I don't really want to describe the whole scene because I feel like it's better watched. But essentially,
but also it's like a lot of it. The scene itself is very strange because when you think about it, it's like, yeah, I think it's better watched.
Yeah, I guess the main like thematic bit is when like the goblin, because he's like successfully saving both for a while, and there's like a boat coming to catch the kids, and Goblin's like gonna ram Spider-Man to like make him drop them both or something, and that's when a bunch of New Yorkers who are up on the bridge like throw stuff at the goblin and like knock him off his
and go like,
like
"This is Spider-Man,"
trajectory.
or "This is my kingdom."
Yeah, they're all like, he's one of us. And that's kind of like the nice bit where it's like before he was saying all the New Yorkers suck and now they're all standing up for him. Yeah, nice bit.
Yeah.
So Mary Jane and the children get to be saved. And then Goblin snatches Spider-Man and takes him into a different abandoned ruins for a boss fight.
Because
And
New York is just full of these random buildings.
right, these random abandoned buildings on the near water. That for
It's
superhero
always
stuff.
near water, isn't it?
It
Except
is.
for the last one. Yeah.
Not both of them.
Or not the third one.
What's the third one?
Third one is just like construction site.
Oh, the third movie. I got you.
Wait, no, it might be near water because they look over and they see the water.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah, so all three take place near the water.
All right, well there you go, folks.
Yeah, very
but
strange.
Anywho,
yeah,
Goblin kind of threatens him. He's like, I just wanted you to make this choice, but now you've made me mad, and I'm gonna have to enter nice and slowly. And this puts Peter into his enraged second wind, and they do their battle, and Peter ultimately comes out on top and then Norman kind of convinces us that he's like dropped the Goblin persona now. I almost said persona there. That would have been bad. And like they're having a conversation, and he seems turned, but you can tell like he like uses his wrist controls for the glider. And right at the end, he says like Godspeed Spider-Man and attempts to send the bladed glider into Spider-Man, but he dodges it and then it kills Osborn. And the last thing he says is don't tell Harry. I assume out of kind of a respect thing, because he doesn't want his son to view him as this villain.
Yeah, he basically just says, "Hey, make sure my son is aware that I was a good man,
Right.
that I cared about him." And then later on, he finds out, "Oh, your dad was the goblin." So it's kind of,
Right, that's kind of the thing.
Yeah, it's like I get it.
Peter
like,
doesn't want to tell him for the
told.
next two movies because he doesn't want him to know that he was this bad man. So the movie ends on a funeral for Norman Osborn.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when Mary Jane goes to Peter and is like, hey, I like you. And Peter's like, yeah, I like you too. And then he decides that he can't do this. And
Yep, and oh man, this starts something great.
yeah, you get like this ending speech. He hits again on the great power, great responsibility. And the idea that like as long as he is a hero, he'll have enemies, and those enemies will always look for a weakness, and that's what Mary Jane would essentially be.
And he's just like, I can't let this girl I care about get in the way or get in trouble. And then she's never in any more action scenes after this.
Yeah, that's definitely how that goes. All right. So that's the first one. Any thoughts to close out?
I think it's one of the best like superhero movies of that time to help show that these movies can work, which is something everyone says. I know, but it's true. There are a few problems with it, but overall, I think it's good. Like I said, I don't have much to say. It's not like it's bad or good. Okay with me.
Yeah, I like it a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But like you said, very popcorny, very much something that you could just turn on with the family to have some fun. Nothing like particularly deep or intense like Winter Soldier or Civil War, but just a fun movie and good message behind it. According to Wikipedia, it was the first film to pass the 100,000 mark on a single weekend.
Really?
Yeah. Surpassed the previous record holder being Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone.
Pretty crazy.
Also, set a record for crossing $100,000 milestone in 3 days. Fastest any film had reached by that mark.
Huh.
But overall, yeah. You want to give a rating for it?
I give it 3 Harry Osborns out of 10.
I'd give it
Pretty
2
good.
standard Sam Raimi Screaming Girl.mp4s out of 5.
That's a pretty good option.
All right, well,